Good afternoon, everyone. I want to welcome everyone, first of all. Thank you for coming out. I've got a script to read here, so bear with me so that we can properly conduct our public hearing. So the members of the audience and board for per 17:10.7, we are here today to receive public recommendations and input regarding the return of Capitol High School to the East Baton Rouge Parish School System. A report of comments will be proposed for the board's consideration. The board will consider the return of Capitol High School to the East Baton Rouge Parish School System at its October 2022 meeting. If there's anyone in the audience who wishes to address the issue at hand, please fill out a card and give it to a BESE staff person. Please note that those wishing to speak may only make recommendations for Capitol High. No other comments will be received at this time. No board discussion will occur in response to comments. We're only here to receive the comments and our recommendations. All right, I think that means we are here to receive comments. I've got 2 cards so far. We have Mr. Jack Harrell or Harrell, and you can come forward, sir, and you indicate that you support the recommendation and you wish to speak. We also have Ms. Rhonda Irwin. Ms. Irwin, you likewise can come forward. You oppose the recommendation and wish to speak. And Mr. Harrell is approaching the microphone. Please state your name for our records.
Press the button, press the button.
Hello, my name is Jack Harrell, and I'm still a 1981 graduate of Capitol High School, which I always like to say. I'm a member of the Capitol High School Alumni Association, and I support the program. I support the move, the motion. What I really want to say is that I clearly believe that the state had good intent in 2008, you know. The only problem at that time was that the stigma in Baton Rouge and New Orleans were two different places. In Baton Rouge, Capital basically became the guinea pig for high schools. And that stigma stuck because the academically unacceptable title that was over our heads at that time, we lost so many students because what they did was they ran back to East Baton Rouge Parish. So schools, the parish basically, the attendance zones, they ate us up. So we basically dropped, we lost a lot of students, and we lost some of our best and brightest students to those other schools. So I clearly believe that the state had great intentions. Unfortunately, Baton Rouge was not a good place for that situation at that time. I think charter schools have the reputation in Baton Rouge. They've changed over the years because the grassroots charter schools, they actually have a different persona in Baton Rouge, and so it's different now. But so my main thing is that even though we're not talking about a charter, in this situation, I think with Capital going back to East Baton Rouge Parish, and what I like about East Baton Rouge Parish in this case is they have a plan, and I think that was one of the reasons the state took it over because, EBR didn't have a plan at that time. So I clearly support the return back to East Baton Rouge Parish, but I will say the state, I'm not here to bash the state. I think the state had great intentions. I think it was just the wrong situation at that time. So that's all I got to say. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Ms. Irwin.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Rhonda Irwin. I'm the current school leader at Capitol High School, and my recommendation is to oppose return, but I'm going to say that with a caveat. I oppose the return of our school without a plan that will show that Capital will continue on its current trajectory, and that the plan will include all of our students. What I get most from parents right now is, what is the plan for Capital? And I don't really have a solid answer for them around what that looks like for their kids. We've just recently lost kids because the vote happened in EBR, and parents are like, I don't want my kids to go to EBR schools. And I don't know really what their thinking is behind it, but there is a feeling around, not just our students, but our staff, around the return of the school without a real clear plan about what happens. I've come to meetings and not spoken about anything towards how we perform academically as compared to other EBR schools that have a similar demographic. But there is a narrative that we perform worse when that's not the case. In many cases, we perform equally or better than schools that are in a similar demographic. We don't compare ourselves to a Glen Oaks High or Bel Air. We don't. That's not what we seek to do. We seek to be more like a Baton Rouge High or more like a Liberty High, and that's why we've implemented some of the changes and programs that we have at our school, and some that some of you have seen upon your visits to our school. We don't oppose going back to EBR. We oppose going without a clear plan and a plan that includes every student on our campus and those who would want to come to our campus. I think that a plan that would say to our parents that your child can't remain at Capital if they don't have a certain GPA is unfair to them. It's unfair to the people in the community. About a good 70% of our students are from our community. We keep hearing that there's also this narrative that Capital is under-enrolled, but we're similarly demographic, except we have a similar enrollment to other high schools. If we're talking about the high school, Glen Oaks, then we have more students at our school than Glen Oaks High School. And if you talk about Estruma, the high school, then we're similarly populated. And so I just think that all things need to be considered when you're making a decision to return capital. If there's a plan that includes all those things, I fully support it. Most of what people want are building. We want equal access and equity, and then advancement in education for all of our students. That's all we ask for.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Are there any other public comments, recommendations? Absolutely. I will note that our board president, Mr. Jim Garvey, is present. Mr. Ronnie Morris is present, and Dr. Belinda Davis is present, and I, Preston Castile, am also present for the record, along with our superintendent, Dr. Katie Brumley, and our esteemed executive director who keeps it all in line. I will note for the audience that Mr. Mike Godin from our East Baton Rouge Parish School Board is in the audience. He has not offered to make a comment, but I would like to publicly recognize Mr. Godin. Thank you for coming. Are there any other public comments? I know a couple of persons walked in. The board is not to make any comments, so that's why we're quiet. All right. I'm also, in addition to thanking all of you as our speakers, I'm reminded to let everyone know that we will take into consideration the comments and recommendations that have been made in our decision with regard to the return of capital to the East Baton Rouge Parish school system. That said, I think that concludes our public hearing. Thanks, everyone.